President Trump really wants you to check your 409k. Now, in a tweet on Thursday morning, the president, while bragging about the stock market, pointed to, of course, the Dow, which is up. It's actually approaching an all-time high. So he tweeted this out. He said, stock market at all-time high. Well, not quite yet. How are your 409ks doing? 70, 80, 90% up? Only 50% up? What are you doing wrong? What are you doing wrong if your 409k is only at 50% up? You must be the worst investor in the world. It says a guy who went bankrupt running casinos. And by the way, who probably should have invested his money, his $1 million that he got from his dad, or whatever inheritance that he had got when his dad passed away. If you just put that in a CD and not invested it in anything else, and if you just put it in a CD and let it sit, he would actually be incredibly rich. Wouldn't have gone bankrupt 6 times. So anyway, now his tweet, for obvious reasons, doesn't make sense. A lot of people latched on to the 409ks because it turns out they don't really exist. Now, I want to say typo, right? And look, maybe it is okay. I want to say typo, but when you look at it, right? When you look at so Donald Trump's got an iPhone. So you look at the numbers on the iPhone, and I can't really show you because it's too small. But when you go to type the 1 and the 9, there's a lot of space in between that. How can you confuse one for the other? You really have to go out of your way to hit the 9 and not the 1, or instead of the 1, right? Look. I don't know. I don't see that a 409k exists. I don't know. I'm not in finance. But I'll be assured that Trump supporters will come in and say, my 409k is great. But wait, we don't even know if it exists or not. Now, there is obviously some fun replies to Donald Trump's tweet, which, by the way, he deleted the 409k and then basically put up the same tweet, but with 401k. So it's corrected, right? So now let me get to some of the original responses here. Rick Wilson said, my 409k sucks. It apparently doesn't even exist. I know that's terrible. Terrible. Cheddar editor-in-chief Jim Roberts said, I guess you have to be in the elite to have a 409k. Maybe. Thor Benson says, we don't have 401ks or 409ks. And look, that's a good point. Other than just, snarky reply, that's devastating. I mean, look, half of all Americans work in low-wage jobs without benefits, according to a CNBC report. And look, that came out last month. And it's even more devastating for millennials. And I'll get into that in a minute. Kira Jane points this out. Stock markets don't reflect how the working class is doing. Eugene QMD says, my 401k is doing well thanks to President Obama. But I just checked my 409k and only tells me as much information as Trump's tax returns. Awesome. And then, of course, there's a lot of people making a lot of jokes about Formula 409. A lot of puns on cleaning solutions. So that's fun. Maybe clean up the White House. Maybe with some fantastic Formula 409. All that stuff. Okay. Now, anyway. So again, he issued a correction. Okay, that's fine. He fixed a 409k. But that other stuff, the numbers that he puts out, having it up by 70, 80, 90%, well, that doesn't make sense. 401k providers actually have a fiduciary responsibility to diversify accounts. So I'm not even sure the financial advice is sound. I don't think he has any idea what he's talking about. Now, to be fair, the stock market is doing actually pretty well. So, yeah, okay, we'll give him that. But it also has yet to outpace gains made under former President Barack Obama, which I'm sure chaps his ass to no end. So for me, look, I don't even care about the stock market because it doesn't – look, the stock market didn't help me under Obama. the stock market isn't helping me under Trump. I don't have any investments. It also, and like the tens of millions of other Americans that also don't have investments, we don't have investments because we can't afford to invest, right? And a lot of people don't have that money. And look, a lot of people also don't have those kinds of jobs that offer 401ks. And so it would be nice, but look, you have a lot of employers that cut back on contributions to 401ks. And, these are the same corporations that get lots and lots, billions of dollars in tax cuts from Donald Trump and the Republicans. So now let me give you some devastating numbers on millennials. So now 2/3 of millennials do not have any retirement savings. None. 2/3. That's nearly an entire generation that does not have the money to retire. They have no savings. Now, why don't they have savings? Why don't we have savings? Why is our generation? Why do we have a lack of saving for retirement? I mean, this is super important, right? It must be because we're lazy or irresponsible, right? I mean, that's the typical response that you get from right wingers. No, it's not that at all. In fact, there are two really important reasons. One is that a lot of us millennials, we do not have access to employer-sponsored retirement plans. So let me go to this data here. 66.2% of millennials actually work for an employer that does offer this type of plan. So you have, roughly 2/3 of Americans, of millennials that work, that do have these employer-sponsored plans. So now, what's the issue? Well, only 55% of those millennials are eligible to sign up. The rest are not able to do so because they're either part-time employees or they haven't been at the company long enough. So, man, that's disastrous. Now, conversely, when millennials have the opportunity to sign up for these plans, a full 94% of them take advantage. So when we have the ability to sign up for plans, worker sponsored, the vast majority sign up because, look, we're smart, we're savvy. If we have the chance to save up for retirement, we're going to take it. I mean, everybody needs a retirement plan, right? But now, again, there's another reason. I said two reasons, right? Second one, and you're not going to be shocked at all about this, is debt. A lot of consumer debt. Now, of course, you have mortgage debt, from taking out a mortgage, vehicles, of course. But the biggest factor, student loan debt. When you have all that debt, it does make it very difficult to go and save money, put it in an IRA, for example. And so, look, a lot of people, again, a lot of millennials don't have access to these employer-sponsored plans. And even if they did, they don't have a lot of money to be able to put towards it. So with all of that, including stagnant wages for working people, increased prices on basically everything, rent, food, look, it's extremely elitist to believe that working people should actually give a crap about the stock market going up because it really doesn't affect them. And by the way, the entire point of those tweets, yes, is to brag about the stock market. I understand that because that does help Donald Trump personally. But also, the economy is one of Donald Trump's main arguments against being impeached. He says, how can you impeach a president when the stock market is so good? I mean, all my rich friends and my portfolio, I mean, they look fantastic, man. All my rich friends are saying, great job, Donald Trump. Yes, our portfolios are doing amazing. We're making so much money. And he thinks, well, how could anyone ever consider impeaching me when I've got all this, when I'm making all this money and my friends are making all this money? Well, it's because he doesn't understand what it's like to be a working class person. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.